All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start in a couple of minutes. I'm going to send out our link to a couple of more of our channels before getting started. Before then, we'll go through a couple of updates, and we have a pretty cool special guest with us today. And as you can tell, I've just momentarily put this notice out like 10 minutes ago. But I'm super excited for Paperhead to join us today to talk a little bit about his project. And if it's your first time here, you may not know, we started off as kind of a tool for liquidity providers on Solana to better track their profit and losses when providing liquidity for different tokens, particularly on Meteora. And that particular journey has spun out and became this kind of bigger thing where we're developing a community of liquidity providers or market makers. So in this new community, we're always looking for new projects to provide liquidity for, to better understand, and as well as kind of understand the behind the scenes parts of these different projects. Because as liquidity providers, all we see are charts. From transactions, we see volume, we see 5-minute volume, 10-minute volume, we see the candles. But what is the meaning behind the candles, right? What is the story behind it? What are the founders? What are the teams? And where are they going? And we're kind of experimenting with this as well, so bear with us, is to understand beyond the chart, right? And so hopefully, this series of different perspectives gives people more nuance and context into what they're providing liquidity for. And I hope this kind of gives you guys that perspective. So let me just kind of get a couple more things ready. We've got a couple more folks joining us. On RPS's side, we are a early stage infrastructure and market maker on Solana. We're very focused on liquidity management, treasury management for early stage, middle stage projects. And we've been working at this for about a year and a half. We're based pretty distributed across San Francisco, Vancouver, Canada, and in Europe. So happy to introduce everyone to that. But today is mostly about my friend here. Okay, so we are live on Twitter. We're good. Live on the personal Twitter. We are good on Discord. We are good on Telegram. Perfect. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get into the meat of things. I'm very happy and excited to bring up my friend Paperhead here, and I'll bring him on stage right now. Hey, what up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good to see you. What's been going on with you, man? It's been a crazy week.
Crazy month. It's been a crazy month. More importantly, getting a lot of the necessary infrastructure in place. I don't know if we want to dive right in there, but yeah, that's the most important thing. I'm really excited about making sure that there's robustness as part of the infrastructure, part of the platform. Maybe a little bit of more context about, what I'm building. I'm building AVO.
Yeah, let's maybe start with just like, what got you into getting into AVO, like the whole story behind it. I know you're like a super target focused, mission oriented guy. So as soon as I brought you on, you're like, okay, here's the deliverables. But let's relax, let's chill a bit. I want to get to know you. Everyone here wants to get to know you a little bit. And who's the kind of the brains behind the project, and how did you come up with the idea and all that?
Yeah, really, it started with the primary mission of giving the necessary tools for our generation, Gen Z, to be able to build wealth over time. And that with that mission, we thought, okay, if we're getting outcompeted in the market, and initially we didn't even think about AVO. Actually, the name AVO came from avocado or avocado toast, which is this notion that Gen Z can't afford avocado, stop affording avocado toast because it's too expensive. Save on your coffee or whatever, just because previous generations, if they had head start in terms of capital appreciation over time, we want to have a similar edge. That's actually that's my belief that part of the main reason why the younger generation gets into crypto, and they're willing to tolerate the high risk, is because there's an upside with a higher reward. So initially, that was our initial exposure was to traditional markets and stocks, but then we quickly realized that we can deliver much faster. Infrastructure exists, and the necessary building blocks exist in order for us to deliver the same value in crypto. So we started initially on Ethereum, and we built sort of a copy trading Discord bot. That was our MVP, and and then after that, we discovered that building it on Solana, it would probably get better adoption, and there was just better tooling overall, at least from our perspective as builders. And then that quickly evolved to becoming AVO, and AVO was the first marketplace for AI trading agents. So we built some. There were other teams who built and deployed some on AVO. But then that also evolved to become more of a broader marketplace for investment vehicles, such as you can build dynamic indexes, you can build creator-led funds, you can build small managed funds, not just AI trading agents. And that's the direction that AVO is heading towards.
What do you think was kind of what everyone else was building that you guys saw differently?
I think the more important piece that we've discovered is there's a lot of room of improvement on user experience. Like a lot of the time when you have difficult onboarding and such, I mean, we had difficulty onboarding ourselves, and we still have these challenges even with the current AVO product and with other products that are on chain. But this is getting better and better over time, and I think that's one of the primary differentiation points. Is we want to be the easiest, simplest way to be involved in crypto and have immediate exposure to whatever narrative is going on. So like, okay, you want AI narrative exposure, here are 10 different portfolios you can be immediately involved in 2 clicks away. Or you want to be involved in ICM and the new narrative around ICM. Here's a Believe index that you could be invested in. You'll be able to just be involved into all the ICM narrative. So a lot of the times, I think, like the definition of FOMO is you've noticed the trend, you want to be involved, but you don't really know how to, and you start to make irrational decisions and you start losing money. Whereas if you can get involved and you satisfy that sort of FOMO urge without breaking the bank or doing silly mistakes, then that is a way for you to capture and retain value over time. Like there a lot of the burnout that happens from crypto is because you make a lot of these mistakes early on, and you might different people have different fault tolerance. So we want to minimize that fault. Yeah.
Do you feel like because we've seen a couple of agent launch pads, virtuals. That's the one that kind of comes to mind. A couple of other ones too. But AVO is building infrastructure as well as
Correct.
the marketplace. And you're mentioning now people can choose which narratives they want to get into. How does that all fit together? How do you compare yourself? Or are you comparable?
Not really. Like just because in maybe in a one sentence, if you're comparing, okay, this is a marketplace for AI agents and this is also a marketplace for AI agents. That's the only comparison. I think functionally, we're actually quite different. It's not a marketplace for every agent, right? You don't have chatbots. And you still can't launch tokens, although we've considered actually seeing if there's an interesting economical dynamic that could arise by sort of attaching a token with the agent, sort of creating that maybe like a fundraising process for new teams or like fresh funds that are trying to make a name for themselves and make that through AVO. But these are just ideas that we've played with. But we're actually quite different because the primary focus is, whether it's an AI agent portfolio or whether it's an index or whether it's a team managed fund or team managed portfolio, they are all portfolios at the end of the day. So that's, if you're comparing it, you should compare it to other platforms that are offering portfolio offerings. So that's the real competitive comparison.
So the reason I'm asking this is just for people who don't know about the platform yet. So I'm asking kind of like a question that I kind of already know. But so just for some people who, because there's so many launch pads lately, right? Everyone just thinks of like, oh, you have a token and it must be a launch pad, AI agent thing. But Ava's actually different. It's an index builder that you can create. So that's very different. And these indexes are also in of themselves agents. So that's quite interesting, and that's like one of the key differentiators right now. How are these performing for people who have, taken and invested, deposited into these different indexes?
Yeah, it varies actually. Even within the same portfolio, it varies. Different people have seen different performance based on their price entry, and when they got started. However, I think the more important focus is how can we make the lifetime value for the user not be 1 day, or like 2 hours, like how you are in every token, but actually be like, stop being a trader and start being an investor, where your choice isn't about what's going to be a runner now, and you're just gambling on that bet, whereas you're now investing in maybe a portfolio. It could be an AI agent portfolio where it's like catching the next narrative as it happens, and you're sort of giving it the necessary funds and capital to try to be involved in the upcoming narrative and sort of become more of a long-term investor rather than like a very short-term investor. And I think that is there's way more value that you can capture by playing this long game than trenching on every token that's getting launched. And I think the long-term game is like, when you're trenching, you're in a battlefield and you're either alive or dead, but you should extract yourself out and you actually play the long-term war game, where you're noticing what are the major sort of war trends are, and you're playing it through a system. Act as an agency rather than acting as an individual.
Interesting. And do you see these like people that are currently trenching, they are the ones kind of like trying to be reactive, while AVO agents are trying to be proactive?
The agents can be reactive, but the user is being proactive. And the reason you want it this way is because first of all, you've removed emotions from trading decisions, and you've made the emotional decision that the user will always make, right? And we all are emotional beings in a way, to just be on more of an abstract layer. So like you're choosing a portfolio that's, say, is tracking a specific index, or it has a specific index algorithm, and you're emotionally invested by the narrative behind this index, right? You're saying like, okay, I want to always be following the top 50 trending tokens, and I have a set belief, and that belief is just an emotion. So, but the underlying actual decisions of whether I should sell now or not, that is abstracted away, and that's where you have distanced yourself from the actual trading emotional decisions. So that's actually a crucial piece where now you're thinking more from a systems perspective rather than like on a day by day or an event by event basis.
Interesting. And so that's actually quite different than just trenching these days, which is mostly, seeing what's a runner and then following smart wallets. But those are actually also options on AVO, right? You could follow
Sure.
smart wallets that are creating these indexes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they are. It's just a trade. It's just like a method of trading. So it's a system,
Yeah.
and we're basically a marketplace for these systems. The
Oh.
fundamental value that AVO brings to the market is because it's a marketplace, and because of the way that we're actually building it, and how it's going to evolve over the future. The systems that are on AVO, whether it's like the wallet tracker or the smart tracker or the agent or the portfolio or the index, these are just methods of trading. They're going to be, competing in a way against each other, and the better ones are going to rise to the top, right? So you will naturally bring up the better systems for people to like trade, to use. Whereas okay, the indexes are more popular just overall, for example, and like that seems to be that seems to be a better system of investing than, say, a wallet tracker.
So that's actually quite a good point that you brought up. What have you learned about the users that are currently using AVO? Has there anything have they realized what the best strategy is right now? You mentioned index being a good one.
Yeah, I think the one of the more important learnings that we have discovered is like people put a lot of weight on their experience besides just their performance, and I take a very serious care in making sure what we are currently building and how we're building the future of AVO is tailoring to making the experience super smooth. Like one of the reasons why a lot of centralized exchanges are actually popular is because, okay, you have access to a bunch of tokens, you have abstracted the chain complexities, you just have a single interface, and you can swap between Bitcoin and Ethereum, two separate chains, quite simply with a single click. The reason that they picked up is because they've actually worked hard on making sure the user experience is top notch. And I think being able to provide great user experience on chain is very important, and that would influence what users are doing. And from what we've learned is the performance of what the users are picking is super important to them. Obviously, that's why they come to the platform. But abstracting away the complexities of on-chain activity or crypto is like a very crucial piece that they also come to AVO for.
I would also want to push back and say that the performance of the indexes are also quite important,
Yes.
as well as the UX of it, right?
Yeah. No, they obviously. I mean, why would they come to the platform? It's not just for the sake of trying something, but
right.
If there's a lot of barriers to attain an outcome, that outcome doesn't look as attractive anymore.
And that outcome doesn't happen as often if it's
that's true.
If you can't go through the first step.
Yeah,
makes sense. I'd like to go into kind of the token side of it. The initial kind of token roadmap was launched a little whiles ago. How has that moved along? What have you guys learned about the token, and what does that token future look like?
Yeah, we've been delivering. We've been on track for the roadmap since we started it. We're actually ahead of the time most of the time. Like not most of the time, I would say I think about 46% of the time. We're ahead on schedule in terms of there is a specific percentage calculator on the roadmap page.
Nice.
That's how I know the number. But yeah, we've never missed the deadline. That's actually very important.
It's already incredible.
And in like if you've ever been involved in any software platform, in any software project, almost never are you on time. So I'm glad that we're actually being reasonable in terms of timelines, and we always adjust different timelines, so we communicate ahead of time, like, hey, we do actually have to push this specific point into the future, and we want to bring this up now because of priority changes. So the roadmap does also evolve, and we make sure that we are actually being clear as to what it evolved to and what type of roadmap items we've added or moved. And in
Can you
terms
give
of
us
the
an example?
token, yeah.
Like
For
an
example,
shifting priority.
yeah. For example, we had to make some radical changes to the trading engine and sort of to the trading infrastructure. So we have deprioritized other features. There was like agent fees and such, and there was like some Twitter related features that we were going to ship. But we said like, okay, no, let's focus on the core of the business, which is the trading engine, the backend, and like making that 100% robust and working on that and releasing an initial version and sort of seeing it into wild and see what type of user, what issues the users are bringing up. That is way more important and more business critical than a secondary feature. So that's why we had to make that decision. We like actually gave ourselves about a month to address these issues. That's a major change in the roadmap, but we've been like on point for these changes as well. Now, in terms of the token and the involvement of the token is sort of the core currency of the platform. That's what the fees are being paid by. The collection of the fees as well from users is being done in AVO. There are some staking and other interesting applications that we will be releasing later in the roadmap, which we also have put dates to. But we're trying to see whether there's a way to tie, the capital that's being invested in these agents with AVO's token. So I haven't necessarily fully thought about how that dynamic could work. I have some ideas when we thought about making AVO not just a marketplace, but also an agent launchpad, and tie the agent's tokens with the AVO token, and sort of make like base and the quote tokens, AVO and the agent token. But that didn't feel like that felt like an obvious application, or an application that any other project would do. We're trying to see if there's an innovative way to actually use the token, besides just paying for fees.
Yeah. Is there something in your gut that's saying, look, no, I don't want to go for that low-hanging fruit. I want to do something a little bit different. Like, is there something stopping you from doing
that? Nothing's stopping me. Like, I want to make sure if we were to choose a direction that uses the token besides just paying for fees, is actually just like a sensible. I don't want my roadmap to look like the roadmap of every other project. We know what we are talking about. Like, I've seen hundreds of crypto projects, and their roadmap is like, oh, do this, release a swapper. Like, dude, you're just copy pasting, 25 lines of code to put it on the website. You're calling it a roadmap item, and it's just like or staking, and then we want to do like, okay, every token has staking. Like, we get that. I know it's it has some importance, but it just feels like that just feels like every other project's roadmap. I don't want to do that. That's why I'm taking like, actually, I haven't deeply thought about what more applications there could be besides just fees and staking into the AVO token, because my primary focus is get the platform working, make it super easy for users to use. And naturally, what's going to happen is you're going to see how the users are using your platform and where are the friction points, and how you could improve the platform to be better and better every day. And possibly you could see emergence of use cases for the token that you haven't thought about before. So that's what I'm waiting for. That's the non-obvious application of the token.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think I've seen a lot of more recently, there's basically like two channels of crypto projects. One that's like heavy token, where the token is the product, and where other projects where the product is the product and the token is something on top. That's a kind of speculative attention aspect to it. It sounds like a lot of different projects that are really strong with their product will do product-led kind of growth, product-led retention, and things like that, and then push that towards the token instead of in reverse. There's success stories and failures in both sides, but I'm liking that you guys have sounded like you're picking a direction and going with it. Do you feel like there's any projects out there that you see as kind of like a model project within Solana that you think, hey, these guys are doing it right, we're going to kind of take some of their thesis and going with it? Or do you feel like you're kind of in your own category?
Yeah, I don't think there's like an overlap with another project that I would say is something that AVO could model after. AVO is really in sort of an interesting / unique position where it is creating its own vertical. We've talked about agent capital markets for a while. We've talked about sort of portfolio capital markets, and AVO is the primary player in this direction, I can say. Besides other like centralized exchanges who are also attempting to create some some overlapping applications. I think I've seen like Coinbase is also working on creating some form of an index. But I think it all goes back to, the AVO like is quickly evolving, so we could be overlapping with other projects. So maybe the answer to this question could be immature now, but maybe more valuable in the future. But no, I think that AVO is creating sort of its own vertical.
Yeah. Okay. I like to kind of ask, like a lot of founders who are like very focused on building different things. Like, what is the kind of like one challenge that you've faced in the past few months of building AVO that you felt like you've kind of, maybe you haven't conquered, but you're on your way to find solutions for it? Do you mind sharing something like that with us? That was like a tough question.
I used to be lenient with hiring and with like trying people, and
the team,
like finding individuals that you would hire and you would actually bring them on board for engineering tasks. But like right now, I am being extremely harsh on picking who. Like I'm being extremely harsh on like the skill level of the engineers that are joining. Like I can no longer tolerate mediocrity. And if you're a crack dev and you have actually built something that's interesting and you are actually talented, then I'm interested to talk and work with you. If you're going to be mediocre and you're actually not willing to like put in the work or the effort, I don't want to work with you. Like, if I can output more than two of you, then I would not want to work with you.
Fair.
That's the main challenge that I've been sort of working with. Like I've seen a lot of people who come through, and I get everybody have like sort of their own life, and I've seen their applications. Some of them are pretty impressive, and I just that it didn't click. It didn't click that they're actually like really wanted, like super bullish on building AVO, and they're just going to be spending 18 hours a day working on building AVO. If that's not the person, I really don't want to hire them. I would rather work by myself than work with mediocre people.
Yeah, that's
what AVO users deserve. I mean, what else would you want to do? If you don't want mediocre people working on a product you're using, especially when you are giving it your own money. So I wouldn't.
That makes a lot of sense. What's what's been going on with the AVO token itself? Have you looked into, where the price is at right now? Are you happy with where it's going?
Yeah,
What's
past few
going
days
up
has
with that?
been, yeah, the past few days have been sort of crazy. Um, you know, it's great. I think a lot of AVO holders are happy right now. I think we've got an interesting long-term journey here. I think you know in 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 the future this is gonna be looking like a dot on the graph instead of instead of the run that it looks like right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think uh, the most important thing is like, okay, don't lose track of what really matters, and what really matters is you've got users, they have certain expectations. You have to are your core business numbers growing? And if they are, then that's great, right? Yeah, I mean, the price could
Are
be
your
here
current
today. Yeah.
are your current core business numbers growing right now, or are you able to share
Yeah,
any of that?
yeah, I mean, I think I don't know what the last time but the last time I looked, it was like we were up like 60%. We were growing like almost 60% to 100% every month, which is fucking nuts. But again, like that comes with there's certain amount of users that we would need, and certain amount of sort of capital flowing into the system in order for us to reach escape velocity. I think we're still like break even. Once we have better escape velocity, I think I think these numbers would maybe sustain at around 30% month over month.
That's already very fast growth.
Yeah, or maybe less. Like I would expect it would probably be less, but like every startup does, right? Where there's like a big spike, and then after that, sort of there's consistent growth.
What do you think? Like, if you were to
Yeah.
reach escape velocity, what would that be like? If you were to kind of really, kind of the ideal
man.
version of AVO,
Yeah,
what does that look
lost
like?
it. Hold on.
Oh, is it my mic?
My audio just went off. I can hear
Okay.
you.
You okay? Okay, cool. Are we back?
No, I think. Yeah, hold on.
If I make a banner.
This was a bad time for my headset. So I can hear the audio that's coming through the tester, but I can't hear you.
Let me see. Can you link it to your Mac, like a microphone?
Yeah. Oh.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
No.
No?
Bad timing.
Okay, I'm gonna take you offline real quick, and then we can sort this out. Okay, guys. No Paperhead's having a couple of technical issues. Please feel free to post any of your questions you have in the comments. I'm the guy that's hosting and interviewing. Like, I want to ask the hard questions, but I also feel like I don't want to ask too many hard questions. But you guys are free to ask all the hard questions, because either you're invested, you're back holding, or you're excited about the project. Please let us know in the comments so I can drill him a little bit. I'm gonna check on him if he's okay. Yeah, so with regards to what Paperhead was mentioning, it was really about kind of, for those that aren't aware of this project, is that it is not another agent launch pad that's launching different tokens, but instead you're actually creating indices. and these are baskets of other assets. But it's also different than DAO's fund, which you create DAOs that are also indices. These indices have various functions to them. For instance, you can actually create a kind of an agent that tracks the wallet of a particular KOL's wallet that you like. And so that agent will then take some of the funds that you allocate to it to go buy those different assets that are following that KOL's wallet. So that's kind of how it works in the KOL side of things. There's also other ones that, say, for instance, take in the data feed and buy the top 50 different performing tokens of that day. So instead of buying one token that you think is going to go to the moon, instead you're buying different mechanisms or miniature systems, and these systems will then act, and then they will go do some different executions on chain. Mr. Friend isn't back. Favorite. You will probably hear me. Oh, you're good to go. Okay, so let's bring back Paperhead. Hey man, are you back?
Hey. Yeah. I just had to restart the refresh the page.
Good to see you. Welcome back. We hide the technical difficulties. Okay, so before we lost you, we were talking about a little bit about hiring, how you've really kind of amped up your requirements for kind of new engineers. How's your team looking like right now? Are you still by yourself? Have you hired people? Where are you going with this?
Yeah, we've got 2 people who have joined. There's another person that I'm actually considering as well, and the 2 individuals who have joined are quite good and meet the standard that I just talked about. So yeah, we're building together. It's been, I think it's been about a week and a half now, maybe a little more. And we already have separate requirements. They're working on their own requirements as well. And things are going well.
Are you like before kind of working on AVO, were you already doing startups before, or were you working in tech? Like, what was that kind of story of that?
Yeah, I started like playing with software. I actually started breaking games when I was like 9. Started writing software back when I was like 9, 10. And then I got into cybersecurity, privacy, cryptography, and I really discovered Monero, Bitcoin back in 2014. And it was more of a sort of an existential discovery. I grew up in a war zone, civil war back in the Middle East, and my journey to discover, Bitcoin as an alternative to a falling currency, which was our national currency, and that was where I fell in love with like hacking and breaking things, and that quickly translated over to, okay, you know how to break things, maybe you know how to build things as well. And I started to build software just as a hobby in high school, and then eventually I actually ended up starting a marketing company, which I sold. That was my first company. I was in second year university when I sold it, and I dropped out after selling the company, and I just started other companies. I started a company in a different region. Actually, I even went and did a tour and had business partners in different regions, in the Middle East, in India, and I also started a voice machine learning company back in 2021. And this was before GPT came out, and we were doing ML work on NLP. And eventually, I got into the automotive space. I did a bunch of startup stuff as well. I built smart contracts for other companies. I built a decentralized voting system through different Ethereum smart contracts. And eventually AVO.
Sounds like quite the journey. What do you feel like as a crypto founder you've learned in the past let's say 6 months, um, managing the ups and downs of a token, developing product, hiring, firing people? What would you say is kind of like your toughest learning here, or something that maybe you look forward to?
I think that there's a period of sort of token holder fatigue that happened lately, and I've noticed that it is happening. Like a lot of people are just sometimes like mentally checked out when it comes to crypto. There's just like too fast moving. There's like a new token every hour, and that creates
A few seconds.
sorry.
That's a few seconds, really.
Yeah, it's like it's nuts, and like people were so hyped up about memes, and that was sort of a shift in narrative. There was like a trendsetter, and then what I've noticed now is that people are just fatigued with all of the meme tokens, just like in seek of a new class of assets. Like if you look at the past, say, 10 years or 8 years, you had the core tokens, and that was like popular. And then in 2017, 2018, you had NFTs, which was like a different definition of asset class. And that just created a different set of energy, or revived the energy of sort of individuals who are involved in crypto. And then, in late 2019, 2020, you had the first boost of sort of meme coin trading, and you had like the AMC, you had the GameStops, and that was like there was an overlap of memes between stocks and crypto, and that sets the meme coin trend. But there hasn't been anything that is a trendsetter since then, and that's sort of what I've been learning. Like, okay, besides the ups and downs, besides what we just talked about in terms of the company and how things are done, I think all of us in crypto who are builders and building in crypto, we're targeting a set number of users, and that base of users, if they're growing fatigued and they're growing tired of the ups and downs of crypto, then we have like a business critical issue that we need to be dealing with, and how we can actually address it. Yeah, that's what I've sort of noticed, or what I've learned. Yeah.
Do you see like a future beyond memes trending
I
a lot
think,
of these different
yeah. Like this is actually why AVO matters. Is equities are going to be tokenized. You're going to have smarter investing happening on chain than just trading. So if we're building the right tools to empower future investors, not just current traders, then we're playing the long game and playing in the future. And I think that's where the new trends, or the new trend will be set. Like, okay, we're actually becoming more of a mature space than just trading a meme token.
I have two last questions. I know I've been grilling you for a good amount of time today, but I want to get you back to your work and not take too much of your day away. One is, where do you see AVO at the end of 2025? The second one, I'll wait until you're done with that question.
Where do I see AVO? I think by then, I would like to. Yeah, I'm very I want to be very keen in terms of like timelines and such. But yes, I want to have the AVO mobile app launched. I think that would be like a 10x on user experience. 70% of the users on AVO right now are using AVO through mobile. So it's just like a natural conversion for them. Instead of the dApp experience, through browser and wallet connection on mobile just sucks. Like that is just a horrible experience, and I just want, like, I can't wait to just have an app where it's like super smooth and you have like social login and so on. That's one, and two is a more broader diversity of vehicles that users can use. That being like, okay, you have indexes, you have AI trading agents, which we already have. You have more, maybe you have, portfolio, like individually managed portfolios, and you can like, there's a team of two people and there's a bio about who they are, and then you're just, buying along them. Or you maybe have like a creator-led portfolio. You have a creator, they're individual investor, and they have a following, and they want their community to be involved. So that's two. So broader sort of accessibility. Another accessibility play is multi-chain. I think multi-chain portfolios are crucial. I think Solana offers a lot of amazing value in terms of speed and variety of assets, but I think there's still value in other chains being implemented on AVO, where the user comes with whatever chain funds, whether you bring ETH, you bring base ETH, you bring base USDC, you bring Sol USDC, and you can just on-ramp onto AVO with any of these and be invested in a multi-chain portfolio without the hassle of managing multiple wallets or having ETH on 3 different chains or bridging or any of them. So that is what I'm talking about in terms of like 10x user experience. That you can onboard your aunt, right? You just then you don't have like, that's another piece. It's like just the mental load of users having to know 10 different chains and knowing where this token lives on, and they just get scammed because they thought that this token existed on this chain, and they ended up buying it on another chain, and the other chain is just a scam token. Like that is just so problematic, and just a lot of the freedoms that the crypto brings like, it's a double-edged sword. Like you can do a lot of things, you have a lot of freedom in terms of how things are done, but on the other end, like, you have these types of problems that arise. So there's a balance here that could be, offered through AVO.
Gotcha. So 2 main things: hit the mobile UX, go app mode, and then second
variety of portfolios and multi-chain.
Variety of portfolios, and then go beyond Solana. Okay, awesome. Well, I guess my last question, and thank you for your time, Paperhead. I know you're kind of super busy manning all fronts right now. Is we have about 200 people in the chat right now. What would you want to tell them about AVO? This is kind of like your moment to shill. What's the CTA basically?
Maybe shill for like an hour.
Well, what's the final call to action, would you say?
If you think AVO is something that is worth looking at, I would love you to be part of the AVO Discord, and I would like to hear their thoughts and what their experiences look like. And if they have any interesting ideas that they want to see implemented in AVO, I am always open to taking such suggestions and feedback. I think that's very crucial. I would love to win them as users, and or if not users, then token holders. If not token holders, then just observers. That's still okay with me.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, man. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see what goes on. I'd love to stay along with the project, and
Perfect.
I'll see you on Telegram.
Sounds good. Ciao.
Ciao. See you. All right, that was AVO. Thank you guys for checking in today. If you guys wanted to follow Paperhead, you can see him at 0x Paperhead. I've got his Twitter handle here. And this is non-financial advice. What we want to do with these chats is really to get people to see what behind the scenes are like with the founders, with the projects, right? Most of the liquidity providers that are in our community are just looking at charts, looking at candlesticks, and not really seeing what's the story behind all of the craziness. And so, that's Paperhead. Let me know if you guys have an interest in any other projects that are happening in the community that you guys would like for me to go and find interviews for. I'm always excited to talk to these different founders, especially product-focused founders. I feel like they're building something for the long run. It's generally a bit more nuanced and a few more levels in about how they're managing the business. So I'm more than happy to go out and do the homework of DMing these guys and getting all these kind of different things set up. And if you guys want to ask different questions in the chat as well, I'm happy to kind of throw those at these different founders. So that's kind of the main thing. The second thing is if you guys would like to provide liquidity and earn fees while with some of the tokens that you're holding that you don't mind having a little bit more of over time, gaining interest or APY, you can go check out Meteora, which is one of the protocols that we're currently built on. We have an app called Ultralive. And what this app does is helps you keep track of your different liquidity positions. A lot of people who provide liquidity for these different tokens, mainly because they're just holding them anyway in their wallet, they provide liquidity for these to earn anywhere between 5% to hundreds of percent per kind of the trading. They will use Meteora for providing the liquidity, and they'll use Ultralive to track all of it. And that's what Paperhead was mentioning before. There's a lot of fatigue of keeping track of all your assets and where they are, how much profit are you actually making, are you incurring any impermanent loss, and these types of questions. And our app really helps solve that. So you can literally run your positions or close them or rebalance them while you're at the gym or something. So that's my little kind of 5-minute introduction to what we do. On the other hand, we will see you on Twitter. So follow us for more. Cheers.